Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Cotunquit Chronicles, which has been broadcast and developed here in the island of Cotunquit in our studio. We acknowledge the custodians of the land where we are broadcasting from today, including the Narragansett Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I'm your host, James Allen, and I'm joined here most weeks, and this week by the extraordinary adventurer, extreme sport enthusiast, and all-around great gal, Ashlyn Komoric. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cotunquit Chronicles. Tonight we have a special guest with us here tonight, Sam Nawoc's father, none other than Fenton Nawoc. My neighbor, Fenton Nawoc.
James, it's fantastic to be here. Thank you very much.
How do you feel about it, Ashlyn? Do you feel similarly?
Oh, I'm excited for Fenton to be here.
I'm excited because,
We've been waiting for a while to get him on the show.
no, how many people in your life have a name like Fenton Nawoc? I mean, I love it.
I wonder if that's why it took me so long to get on the podcast.
You were under the influence of fentanyl?
No, we just call you Ton for short. Oh, so here we are at the podcast center. I'd like you to know that at any point that you'd like to interject during the course of this discussion, or what do we want to call it, session of ball busting, I would like you to feel at ease to interject at any time.
Thanks, James.
We are doing something slightly different tonight, and I'm going to include a poem that I wrote. It's not entitled America, it's entitled B-America, as in the letter B and then Merica. So here we have it, B-America. Now the reason for this poem tonight is the proximity of this upcoming important election. And we have an elected official with us here this evening. Which we'll talk about more in a little while. But Fenton, you've seen the signs out on the main road.
Does Fenton have street or yard signs?
Yeah, yard signs everywhere. Fenton,
all up and down our street. Actually, it's not just our house.
It's true.
It's an important time, isn't it?
It is a central time.
Mm-hmm.
We all have to remember to vote. It's so easy now. I voted number 4. I think I was the 4th person to vote.
Have you also voted already?
No, I'm going to vote in person. Maybe I'm old school.
Well, you can vote in person at the town hall.
Yeah,
I haven't done it.
There's something about Election Day. I'm going to go.
I like to go on Election Day.
Yeah, I'm going to go on Election Day. And there's the lines in Cotunquit aren't terribly long on Election Day.
Let's talk about positive things.
Like
I
our
noticed
guest.
Sam Nawoc showed up. So I'm in the street today. That's your father. They're the father.
My son.
That's your son.
And my son.
Fenton's son, Sam.
So Sam showed up in the street.
Yeah,
not
Sam
Fenton.
showed up. No, not Fenton. And, he was in the street too, I'm sure. He had to get here somehow. Has it always been a goal of yours to play professional soccer?
Yeah.
There's 2 people laughing. There's 3 people laughing right now. And that is because all 3 of us have played soccer together in a not professional manner.
Yeah, I played soccer since I was a little kid. I still love the game. My body's all broken down, though, as you know.
At what age did you decide I'm not going to be a professional soccer player?
I think 7.
So what's up with all this hyperactivity? Like I can't even get you to come over and have a glass of milk or beer or anything because you're so
GD busy.
I am.
You're beating it hard.
Fenton can't say no. I think
That's
is the
exactly
problem.
right. Yeah, I'm overcommitted myself. There's a lot of good things to do in the world, and I don't want to miss out. At some point, I'm going to miss something fun.
So he's got FOMO too.
In a big way. The people that I work with know that I've got FOMO.
Fear of missing out. Yes, but for those of you in other parts of the world, fear of missing out. On that topic, though, nothing wrong. I think we're responsible to live a full life. I mean, it's really 3 people in this room right now. I don't know of a 4th, but it's very warm in here too. And I was thinking that all 3 of us are living full lives, I think.
Yeah.
And not to the extent that you 2 are. I'm taking risks. But I'm more inclined to see if I can go low on the course, golf course. That's my...
Yeah. That's good. You talked about Sam there a little bit. So Sam just got back. Ashland, I don't know if you know this. He spent a few months in the woods.
Oh yeah, you were telling me this, and you loved it.
He loved it. He came back with a big smile on his face, and he had some cold nights, sub-freezing nights there in a sleeping bag, and
he had a
hammock.
Near confrontation with a bear.
Very close to a bear. Bear.
You mean it was almost a bear, but it wasn't a bear?
Well, let's just say does a bear shit in the woods? Well, it shit right in his camp.
He came in contact with the bear shit.
Sam knows. Sam knows the answer to that question. Now you got they have bear boxes up there to protect all the
food.
And the bear picked up the box and threw it around a little bit and tried to get in. So those things are strong. But he came back with a big smile on his face and was very happy, and he's trying to figure out when he can go back in the woods. So yeah, it was good to see him. He told me tonight he saw you in the street, and
it's great. Big hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a little street party over there?
He hangs out in the street a lot.
Boys are good. Yeah. Well, that's one of my questions because I want to start with how did Fenton show up in Katunkwit, with Shelley?
Well, Shelley, it was actually, believe it or not, would you believe this? Almost 20 years ago. We came to Katunkwit, which doesn't seem like that long ago.
I remember the little boys.
Yeah, tiny little.
And you just washed up on the beach?
And I mean, it's hard to, both of you know, it's hard to not like Katunkwit as a town. It was hard to get here, to figure out how to get here.
Did you have to force yourself to not like it? Somehow. The way you phrased that was in a manner that would lead to that.
There are only good parts of Katunkwit, and with Sam and his brother, they were tiny, so there's not much better than growing up in the marsh and the ocean and the great playgrounds in town. And
Sam and Sven, Sven, he's also an interesting dude. I see him in the street too. We spent some time chatting it up. He loves our dog.
Yeah, Sven is
a good dude.
Sven's a good guy. He's doing good stuff in town. It's good that and we have a nice little street, right? Good neighborhood, good and good neighbors. It's part of the best thing.
It happens to be the same street where we were actually recording from, the places on the same street, and we we've kind of have a little thing going on. Yeah. So, but why did you come to Katunkwit?
Well, both Sam and Sven were about to go into school, and the schools here in Katunkwit are great, and we want them to get a good education and live in a neighborhood. And we're lucky enough to live in a good neighborhood here, so it's fun.
Where did you come from?
We lived in Eastwick,
over
by the state.
The witches of Eastwick.
Right in the middle of the enormous state that we live in, by the university, right near the university.
Oh yeah.
And we lived there for a few years.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know if you know this. Ashland has done some skiing with Sven and Sam, and that skiing has been a lot of fun. Right? You spent some time
Yeah.
Tearing up the snow.
Out west and up north.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good skiers, both of them.
Yeah.
No, it's good. What was your first reaction to your neighbor claiming rights to the blueberry bushes?
We're taking out all the dirty laundry and airing it now.
There happens to be 5 lovely, well-producing, large buried blueberry bushes in the front lawn, like nearly on the street, that are very accessible to the neighbors. And this neighbor, who often took advantage of the previous neighbor who lived there, who gave us this seemingly a right to pick blueberries.
But so James and Ashlyn, I'll tell you the story.
Well, you might.
Well, this was the first summer that we moved in, and I didn't really know anybody in town, and I walked out
For about 10 seconds.
But I walked out, just like you said, the blueberry bushes are in our front yard, small front yard.
Yeah.
And I walked out, I didn't really see anyone, and started walking towards the street, and then someone scared me because I hadn't seen him on the other side of the blueberry bush, literally in his underwear, picking blueberries.
James Allen. In my underwear. And, they weren't...
Wait, were they boxers or whitey tighties?
No, they were boxers.
But they weren't like... They weren't... I would suggest that they were not like the open kind that have full access. And you'd have to have some serious binoculars to figure that out.
And so, James, did you want to meet the new neighbor by
No, that wasn't my intent. My intent was to
foraging
fill up
on
my
his
blueberry
blueberries?
thing, because the kids ate blueberries in their pancakes each day, and it wasn't that we ran out of store-bought blueberries. We had no intention of ever buying any blueberries because they have them right across the street. They have more than they can eat. So it's a sharing thing. It's like one other neighbor who lives on the other side, a couple doors down, and the other neighbor suggested that they had to have a fence. If they were going to put up a fence, they had to have a gate. It's just friendly. It's a friendly neighborhood. So that's how it works.
Well, that was a good introduction to the neighborhood. There's nothing that gets you to know someone closer than seeing them pick blueberries in their underwear.
There is one thing that it's those really nice Manhattans that you make with those special cherries. That also helps very much. So we have that going for us. So I actually am coming back to a question I sort of alluded to before, but why do you do so many things? Like, do you think that you're Ashland or something? Like you do so many things.
I think he does more things than I do.
Right now you ski, you're doing marathons, the other thing, the Iron Man. I mean, what's up that with the Iron Man thing? Isn't that a little sexist? I mean, really, that's become something that it shouldn't be.
They're all, whether you're male or female crossing the line, you're an Iron Man.
It's still wrong.
Should they be Iron Women?
There should be ironists.
I think women have, better endurance, so it should be iron women.
They probably have more iron in their blood.
We can petition the organization to change the name.
I think it's sexist. I think it's racist.
How do you figure it's racist?
Against iron?
Because it's a race. You see how I work? So I guess that's the kind of thing that Ashland does. Like, you're sailing too, and you're on the council, whatever that is, the educational council. What do they call that? School committee in Katunkwit.
That's right.
Well, you need that. Like you need a whole. And then the dude joins the fire department. And he's got that other thing where he does the ski patrol over at Yago.
It's a condition. I know a few other people who can't say no.
It's very unusual. It used to be the charge of the whole soccer program.
I mean, Ashland, you are as scheduled as I am, I feel. Like
I don't think so.
I try to do lots of things, but I try not to get myself in situations where I must do them because I signed up and gave my word to somebody.
That's a big difference actually, because I have a lot of things that
you're not
required,
obligated to do.
What are your goals with all of this? You did wear your Iron Man hat. It says 70.3 Timberman. Ooh, another sexist thing. You're a timberman.
Perhaps
What about
racist.
the timber women? I mean, timber person would be much more iron person. I think you got to go there.
I think we want to hear more about his fire department stuff.
That's coming up.
That's relatively new, right?
But I guess you don't have any goals with all of this. You're just like, do as much as you can and then die.
Yeah, I mean, I think life is short, and
that's kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good
You only have
things
so
to
much
do.
time, so.
I mean, I do sail. Ashland sails too. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing on a sailboat. So there's still a lot to learn.
Oh yeah.
A lot I don't understand. I'm lucky to stay on the boat most races, which is not always a guarantee. So I learn every time I go on the boat. Learn with all the stuff that I'm doing and try to help out.
You know what I learned on Sunday? I played 18 holes at Fenner Hill, and it says Fenner Hill, but it's really Fenner Mountain. And it's impossible to putt there, too. That aside, I came home Monday. I couldn't move. That's what I learned. I keep learning.
No golf carts at that place?
They have them, but I was determined not to. I said, what would...
It was a beautiful day.
What would Fenton do? And then I realized...
Wait, Fenton, do you play golf?
Oh, don't get me started with that.
Horribly. I haven't even played I played with James a few times, and he
stopped asking you?
No, I would love to play golf with you. It takes too much time for you.
Yeah.
However, I just, at address, I don't understand how you could actually turn the club over, have it facing the ground, and then hit the ball. I don't know. So it's James. Maybe we're better off not playing.
James is horrified watching me address the ball, and it goes straight most of the time.
If you speak to it
So
properly.
he just can't watch you do it.
I have to look away. But
I haven't played in years now at this point.
Is it true? I'm going to say it's changing up again. Is it true that you own a ski that has multiple shot glasses on it for drinking shots of Jägermeister? And then I happen to know that this is true because I've witnessed some of this tomfoolery. But why do you have that?
We affectionately call that the shot ski. The shot ski has
That's
been...
racist. That I know is racist.
No, it's a ski with shots in it. Shot ski.
It's a reference to something Polish, I think.
We have filled it with not just Jägermeister, but different varieties of delicious alcohol in shots, and it's just everybody's lined up. You're kind of shoulder to shoulder, and it's a fun little thing to do.
I think you get the ski from.
Did you make it?
We were gifted.
Oh, you were gifted
actually by one of your guests. I forget his name, but he was here. He was here early on. One of your guests. And he gave it to me for my birthday, actually, and we used it right after he gave it to me. Minutes after he gave it to me.
Yeah, came with a bottle.
Fireball.
Okay, so we're getting to the meat of the matter here, and you did join the fire group, and it's referred to as department. Therefore, it's not sexist like that. It's not department, department, and the fire department. So that's a cool thing. The volunteer fire department really is a wonderful thing that we tout this regularly on this production. And the reason you're a guest here today is because there's like 300 volunteer fire persons or
firefighters.
Well, I think first responders.
It's first responders.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of first responders.
He's here because there are lots of them, but he's the only one on your street?
Nope. He's here because there are lots of them, and we hope that they all listen to this program. So no, that's not true. So you got the fire group that you visit every Thursday, I noticed, because you're not home again. And
Because
you
James
can't
is
watch a
keeping
ball
tabs.
game or go to the soccer program over URI. Can't do any of that. And are you like you're on fire engine number 1, I presume? And do they let you drive?
He's just making this stuff up.
Do they let you drive?
Yeah, I actually.
Did you get a drive permit?
You have a test that you have to take. You practice for a while, and you have a.
Are you in the
test.
rear like
Wait,
Kramer?
can you?
No.
Yeah, can you
Like
drive
Kramer on
the ladder
Seinfeld?
truck?
I have driven the ladder truck. Yeah, it is a big vehicle.
Do you have to remember all the names of the streets and how to get there?
There's a test that we have to take where they pull up street names and you have to figure out where it is. And
I wish we'd known this. We could have tried to stump him with street names.
But if you're the driver, do you still have to hold the hoses? They're heavy, aren't they?
Yeah, it's I like the hose. I like putting up ladders and
You like
pulling
pulling
hoses.
Does this hose work? Does it somehow fill a void in your life when you handle that heavy hose? You know where that question's going. I guess that's true. I mean, because it's a department. Not a department. Oh, that's fun. Do you pick and choose which fires you attend to come running to? Because I noticed that there was the occasion where you were out perhaps, it wasn't stacking wood, because I noticed that Shelley did the stacking with Sven. And you know what? You've always stacked the wood every year, and I always wondered, gee, he's always alone doing that. And you were away, and it's the best year ever. The stacking, it looks like Martha Stewart did it.
Are you saying something about my stacking wood capabilities? Because
Yeah.
I did, to defend myself, stack some of that wood. Shelley did do some. That's correct.
Shelley did a good job. Shelley took some time, put some effort into that.
She did. That's true.
Everybody in this neighborhood's talking about it.
And Sven stacked at least 3 pieces of wood. So
No, that's not fair. Because Shelley wouldn't let him. He was trying to, but I know
Wasn't neat enough?
No, she had a particular way to do it, and
well, she
definitely the Martha Stewart way.
She made the crisscross
The ends.
blocks at the end. Yeah, which she's a lot more talented than I am with detail oriented tasks, which I just kind of pile them all up.
Yeah, what I was getting to about wasn't anything to do with stacking wood. It was really about like deciding when the alarm goes. Do you always go?
When to
or,
respond.
Like if you're in the middle of something and you're making a birdhouse for your neighbor across the street, and
That sounds like a Shelley
you're
thing
working
to do.
on the
For
saw, and everything. You go.
I go whenever it's a volunteer department, so I go whenever I can. So if I'm home, even if I'm in the middle of something and the alarm goes off, I go and respond. And I'm happy. It's a volunteer department, so I will go do any menial task that can help with any situation. But the last fire, I think this is where you're going. I was all the way over at the university when the alarm went off.
So you had a sense that it was something.
No, they let you know in the alarms if it's something
Oh.
that they need a lot of people. And they said they needed a lot of people, and I drove all the way from the university to Katunkwit and over to the incident, and I helped out.
Remember that we want to know what it is that you try to sort of do over there at the university, but not right now. Anyway, so that's it.
So that was your first big fire, right?
So you got there. Did you drive, or you just met him there? You met everybody there.
I was late. There were
Did you bring your water
firefighters. There were firefighters that were already doing. There are firefighters that are fantastic on that volunteer department, and they do all the work, and I support them. And they were already.
So support mean like you pull a hose or you
pull a hose and
empty a hose later.
Yeah, and cool parts of the building off with the hose, or even when they're done with the hoses, just cleaning the hoses out and coiling them back up and getting that back in the truck. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
And it's hard work to do in those firefighter outfits. My sisters call it Halloween costume, but they're big, heavy. I mean, they're fireproof clothes, so it's big. It's hard work.
Much appreciate that in the middle of winter, though, when it's not as cold and you're shooting the water out and it's freezing on the way out.
Yeah, but not on a 90-degree summer day when you gotta.
So what happened? You got there and you supported the hose against the wall, and then put the hoses away.
And then
or did you go into the building?
No, I did not go into the building. All the
More experienced.
Experienced firefighters that were in there, and they had already knocked it down. But I helped clean up and make sure the entire fire is out, and there's a lot to it. There's more to it than I had originally thought, and it's another. I learn every time I go down there. So
thank you for doing it. Not you and all out there in the podcast world that are involved with any kind of first response. Thank you. Mm-hmm. We need you, and more than ever, right now. I'm going to go in a different direction, but same topic. I'm going to ask this question because there was a financial town meeting a few years ago, and I was at that financial town meeting with Eva, and we're waiting for the vote we wanted, right? But there was all these little things, and there was this issue. I think they were going to try to build an extension on the fire part of the house or whatever. They needed money, and it was part of the budget. So all the volunteer fire people showed up, and then right in the middle of this whole thing, the alarm went off, and like 150 people left, and it was very well timed. If it wasn't.
Wait, was this planned? Did somebody say, "Well, pull the fire"?
About this?
That was before I joined the fire department, but I am sure that nobody on that fire department would do that intentionally.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No way.
Seems so timely. It was wonderful. I mean, instantly everybody voted yes.
Yeah.
How many million? Give it. Gotta have it. Another question about racism. Do you think it's racist to call the chief of the fire department chief? I do. I don't like the chief. I don't like chief being used.
That's the first time I actually ever thought about that.
That's where it came from.
Yeah. Of course.
I have never thought of that either.
Okay, we'll leave that then.
But bring it up at your next fireperson meeting.
This is a little personal. This next question a little personal.
Oh boy.
How high have you risen on that ejaculating ladder thing? The
telescoping.
The ladder from the truck that gets massive, like huge hard on. That one. How high did you go on that? Did you go right to the head? Not right to the top.
I did go all the way to the end.
What is that like? That's like 250 feet up, isn't it?
It's a 100-foot ladder, but it's a long way up, and
there's nothing underneath. There's nothing to catch you.
No, but there's a lot of safety precautions up there too. We have harnesses that we put on.
So it straps on the thing?
Well, once we get up there, we hook ourselves in, so we can.
You don't have one while you're going up?
Not while we're going.
You slip, man, you're done.
Well, they're handrails essentially going all the way up, so you can fall off, but you'd have to work to fall off. But once you're at the end, you go up there to do work, so.
Yeah,
you either got an axe or a hook or something, and you're doing work on the house, and that's when you're strapped in to make sure you don't fall off because it's more of a
fall into the fire.
No.
Or a question on that topic again. Gee, were you scared?
No, I'm
scared for you. I'll carry the scare.
He probably wouldn't do it if he was afraid of heights.
This would be tough for me.
Well, and everybody on that fire department's pretty cautious, right? And they say that often. It's in all the first aid and first responder stuff. You have to make sure that you don't put yourself in danger or anybody else in danger.
Yeah, they don't want to be saving.
That's exactly right.
You.
Yeah.
You have some place to go, so you're looking at your watch. I guess this
James
is a different
doesn't miss
question
anything.
on a different topic. What was your favorite party at my house? With the Clamathons?
Did you ever talk on this podcast about the Clamathons?
I don't think so.
No.
We may have alluded to it.
We have talked a little bit about Clamathon.
Actually, yeah. So if everybody in the podcast world remembers back to podcast number 4 when we talked about Clamathons. Those are parties at my house that included a lot of people going out to the clam flats, picking clams and oysters and anything else we can find, crabs and fish. Bringing it back to my house and cooking it. And like an all night, all day, everything. Like knock down, drag out, have a great time into the way night party. Those are fun.
And we used to get back to your house grimy and mucky and salty and just immediately have ice cold beers waiting for us and drinking beer and then eating cogs and
that's this fresh
chowder
and chowder fritters. You did fritters every year.
The later parties had fritters.
Yeah.
Well, we had a fritter expert, right? We had Stuart. Stuart did the fritters, and he had experience working at one of the local establishments.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So they were like clam cakes. We don't call them fritters here.
Yeah.
And that's a different...
I knew what you were talking about.
Sorry. I'm not originally from Cotunkwood, so sometimes I get the words mixed up.
Are you originally from Rhode Island?
No.
Yeah, that explains it.
No, I'm not.
Villanova.
I did go to school in Villanova.
But my favorite party at your house is every Christmas. When we and the neighbors show up in pajamas and eat delicious stuff that your wife Shelley makes every year. She makes the best. I think it's called like a bread that I don't know if I could call it that. But my daughters, they love that party.
Yeah.
It's part of Christmas, It's just everybody shows up in their pajamas. Most of us do.
So there's a lot of walking around in your street in underwear and pajamas and things like that.
It's like it's a what's it called?
It's sort of surprising because it's a very
Conviviality.
well-traveled street by parents who insist on driving their kids to school.
Well, they're going to have to put up with my underwear and others.
Maybe if you were out there in your underwear more often, they'd put their kids on the bus.
True.
And start using the bus system, and not wasting all that fuel. And then they drive extraordinarily fast up my street. Our street, excuse me.
Did you?
And then when they get to the school, they idle in front of the buildings, which is not allowed. But they do it anyway.
There's no idle police out in front anymore? It used to be, I remember.
Yeah. You should get somebody to monitor that. Did you ever tell Ashlyn the first time you and I met? Because
I thought it was when you found him half naked in your blueberry patch.
I thought it was I had my dog and he shit on your dog. No, that was yesterday.
The blueberry incident was the first intimate time we've had together. But we had.
You're not going to get me out on that 100-foot ladder. That's for sure.
we had bought our house, but we hadn't moved in yet, and we came to just walk with our tiny little kids from our house to the school to practice the walk.
And I was sleeping in your bedroom. There's Jay. He's in his underwear again.
And Shelley liked that a lot. No, your
I don't want to disappoint anybody.
James's 2 daughters were literally, as we parked, had a lemonade stand in front of their house.
Matsui.
Yeah, tiny little girls doing lemonade. And so, of course, we walked across the street, bought some glasses of lemonade, and then you and your wife...
Eventually, we came out. 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds.
Some lemonade to these old guys. No, that was the first, and our kids still talk about that when they... you remember the first time we met? Lemonade.
So all American.
Yeah.
Also the night of the fireworks party at your house, which you've done every year except for this year because we got stuck with fog.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years we haven't done well with weather for fireworks, but that was because we're so close. Our house is so close enough to walk to the fireworks. We like to have people over. You've done that, I think, Ashlyn. You and Stuart? Is that right? maybe years in the past.
Possibly. This year we doubled up on the e-bike. Actually, that was the Newport fireworks.
I heard on a separate podcast. That sounded like an adventure.
Yeah.
That was
Ricky.
That was Ricky.
Yeah, it's a little close for Stuart. I'm with Ricky on that one.
A little dangerous for Stuart.
Too much skin contact. Any party when your sister-in-laws are on site too. Your mother-in-law too, and father-in-law. That's fun.
Yeah.
Wait, are your sister-in-laws as funny as Shelley?
No, much funnier.
Much funnier.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Because I think Shelley's funny.
Oh, do you?
Oh, she
Yes.
is shower. Shelley is down. And funny at being that way.
Shelley's sisters are very gregarious, and so they're being around them is
Now I'm going to have to invite myself to a party when they're around.
Yeah.
Over the phone. I mean, some of the funniest. I think one of the times that I laughed and then actually got pain from the laughter was listening to her describe her experience as on the gymnastics equipment, naked. Oh, okay. So, what comes first in life for you? Quick answer. Answer now.
I don't understand the question.
What comes first in life for you?
My family.
Thank you. Good. Getunkwit soccer. Who, what, and why? Why'd you do that? That was like fun.
Well, I
You mean when he ran it or when he was playing?
Oh no! No, when you were running the program, which was like 10 persons job. And poor Shelley, you forced her to make all those cookies and everything. It was terrible.
I mean, I played soccer. I love the game. Love the game. It was a lot of work, and it was hard and difficult, and I was cursing it every year. And then every single year, the first game, the first morning when you had 60 kids on the field up here at Getunkwit.
They all show up like ants.
Bright color shirts, and the only reason most of them are there are for the donuts. I love those days. I miss those days.
The Getunkwit girls soccer team from town, the
school soccer team.
The school team made, they were young girls, women, whatever you want to call them. They made the playoffs.
I saw
Very
that.
impressive.
That's pretty good for such a small school.
Absolutely. Did the boys? Do you know? Did the boys team make the playoffs as well? They were close.
We don't have to talk about that. It's not about that. We're giving credit to these young women, young girls who went on to be successful enough to make a playoff.
Very happy for them.
Very impressive.
Yeah, they did a good job because there were many years where both school boys and girls teams did not win one game. So.
There were years when we only had one co-ed team.
Oh, I don't remember that. Is that when your kids were in school? Yeah, so it's come a long way for the.
There were years where we only played other islands.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. Do you read the history section of the Getunkwit Press where they show what was happening 10, 25, 50, 75 years and 100 years ago? Because I love that section.
We do sometimes.
Who's we?
Shelley and I actually just read that kind of together the other
over
night.
her shoulder?
It's she reads a word, then I read a word.
That's how you make.
Now you understand what podcasting's about, right there. Good humor.
That's how you make that newspaper last a bit longer.
I don't know. She was just reading it the other night because it was last week. Must have had a very funny. Very interesting, I guess I should say, history. I don't remember what it is.
There was something that was quite like racist, but out of context, of course. Back then, it was considered normal conversation. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I catch all of it. Yeah, but sometimes Eva's in there from 25 years ago when she was doing her work here in town, and I was working here. So sometimes I look for myself.
Do they say her name?
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
It's kind of narcissistic, but I look for my own clips.
Do you cut it out of the paper and put it on the refrigerator?
Do you have a Google alert for your name?
I've always wanted to be in the newspaper. I wanted to be a contender. It could have been something. I'm not just doing this shit. So So, as a school committee member, congratulations. Congress is next, isn't it? Right after that?
No. This is about as high as I go.
Oh, no.
Wait,
Official life.
if they ask, he's going to say yes.
Yeah, of course. It's a straight track from Katunkwit to the Capitol. I'm sure of it. I'll ask a question about school committee. And it's Katunkwit schools. And do we really need a middle school? Tough question. I know. You can say, I'm not sure right now, or I don't want to answer that right now. But my daughters went over the bridge for high school and discovered that there is a real world, a big world, that doesn't have water all around it. And couldn't the Katunkwit kids, but there's only like 8 kids in the class now, bus across the bridge and join the local middle school there and kick some ass in sports and make some pottery and fix the bridge and Stratton engine, together with all their other friends, like the rest of the world?
I mean, isn't
that an interesting question, the way I phrased it?
Briggs and Stratton. And,
you can make pottery here in Katunkwit.
I hit a nerve.
Just to clear that up. We do have some opportunities for our students.
Yeah. I know. I'm not suggesting otherwise. It's just that you have to do it with 3 other people.
I mean,
okay.
It's part of the reason that I moved to Katunkwit was the school system, and it's still. I mean, this is a topic that has come up to the school committee for many, many years.
Yeah.
I was talking recently we have a neighbor that used to live around the corner. Whose daughter used to live around the corner for us. Daughter used to
near the house that burned down. That was over near the
that's right,
liquor store that's not there anymore.
He served on the school committee, and he said it was 15 years ago that they were having that conversation.
Yeah.
So
it's a fair question, isn't it?
It's a fair question.
Given that people that buy houses here don't actually live here any longer.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how the pandemic shifted the demographics of our town. I don't know if there's a house that's going up. Where's this over here? There's a brand new house that's going up that I just drove by, or rode my bike by actually, and it is
Where is it, Ashland?
Monster.
It's over near, Miller?
Near, I don't know what he's pointing to on the map. Near the monks?
Oh. Yeah, near the monks. But some of the houses that are going up in town.
What about the one by the bridge?
By the bridge. I mean, that
they don't have kids in the school system.
No, but they're paying for our school system.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, they're paying taxes.
Some, yeah.
All right, let's not go down this. It's not funny. Let's go with funny. Shelley stacks wood better than you do. I'm going to say it again.
I don't think that's true. You
know what I think? I think you don't respect wood.
All right, I think next year you need to have a harvest festival, and one of the activities will be a wood stacking competition.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
But we need a lot of wood.
I have a lot of wood. I'll bring you the wood.
I respect wood. That's right from Larry David. The Larry David show.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh, that's so funny. I love that.
Can I ask?
I ask you about the wood a lot.
Am I speaking of cordwood? Aren't you and Stuart doing something with cordwood at your house?
Yeah, we're in the wood collecting process right now.
Oh.
But yes, we are planning to build a cordwood sauna.
And then who's going to be in it? Ricky. Stuart, you build it. Ricky gets
the fun parts.
Yeah, Stuart's usually gets dragged into my building projects, kicking and screaming.
What's your favorite TV show?
I don't watch a lot of television, actually. You know what I'm gonna
ask you next, don't you? What's your favorite book?
The
last though. I see the TV on. It's a big TV, and so you can see it through the window.
Shelley watches a lot of television. I'm going to leave here and go turn on the World Series game, which is on tonight. But
okay.
But the last book I read, which is not that long ago, was the Liz Cheney book, which is interesting.
Oh yeah. I like those kinds of books.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Nonfiction.
she stepped up. And she's continuing to step up.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite Ski Patrol episode? That's not a TV show. That's just you at the Ski Patrol.
Yeah, I have.
You saved somebody's life, didn't you?
I've been I mean,
Somebody had a heart
the
attack.
patroller to be a patroller. It's a small hill, but the people that ski
Could
there.
you rephrase that? Because that's the smallest hill. Nothing wrong with the hill or any of the people that own it. But that's really like a depression that runs like below sea level, right?
It's in a valley, literally. So it goes down into a valley. But people don't go there to ski, right? Do you know this? They go there to learn to ski, so they can go to other places to really ski. So the result is you get people on skis that have never skied before.
Oh, it's a lot of blood.
You there's some accidents there, but not. I mean, we help them a lot. That's one of the more. That's the
You love doing
part of
that.
I do, and it's because it's mostly kids.
You always go at the most inopportune times when I want to do something, and you're off. And I only get to see Shelley. I always say
Only?
Hi, Shelley.
I only get to see.
Well, I mean, I love her. She's a wonderful person, and I enjoy talking to her. Actually, probably more than you. But I don't really have the opportunity to actually speak with you any longer. So I have a much better relationship with your wife.
Well, you could go over to the Depression Valley ski area and go skiing.
Would you like to do that? I mean,
I'll go.
I sign up intentionally every year for Friday nights because nobody else wants to do Friday nights, and I have no life, so I might as well be there Friday nights.
Not fair to anybody in your family or your neighbors. I'm going to do a little music and then away. Hey, today we have our commercial. Hey, don't say that, Jay. That's very wrong. Don't say hey. I'm talking to myself now. I'm going to say this is a commercial break time, and then I'm going to say the commercials. But this first commercial is really not a commercial. It's just a shout out to the Cotunkwood Volunteer Fire Department for all that you do for our community. If you can work with Nawoc and mold them into something responsive to fire events, I think that's great. Thank you for all you do in this community. It's not the first time we thanked the members of the Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you so much. St. Bartholomew's Basement Bargains is open conveniently from 8 to noon on Saturdays. It's an organized rummage sale that occurs every week. Bring your used stuff in one door, and we guarantee that someone will buy it in 2 weeks. All proceeds go to the church beneficiaries. No standing at the receivables door to pick off priceless art before it gets to the shelves. Strictly prohibited, as we have volunteers in place to process these precious items to their cars. Oh, no. That's wrong. Word is that an Asian restaurant is to be located. Is it okay to say Asian restaurant? I think it would be more.
It is.
I think so.
I think it would be more appropriate to say a restaurant is to be located on Cotunkwood, Maine. I've missed the previous
Asian
restaurant's
restaurant.
food. Yes.
It's a type of food, you can say.
Yeah.
Okay, Asian food. I just want to be correct.
I'm very excited by this news.
Me too.
I am too. It was delicious before, convenient and very helpful. I thought it was great. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Great.
She
Great
has
news.
she has another similar restaurant in another town, which gives it a good chance of being
Is it good?
food.
I've
it
heard
gets-
good things from
I
people who
have-
have been there.
Is that over in on Aquidneck Island, Middletown?
Yes,
Yeah.
the
Is it
north
right
end.
next to
Portsmouth?
Ida's? Is that the one?
No,
Across
It's-
from
it's
Putting
much.
Green? Okay, never mind.
No.
And I'm really excited about this news. Yay! Sean Stakonis. Sean Stakonis reported that he has just returned from another work ski trip. Sean sells sunglasses for a famous brand that we cannot mention as they haven't signed on as a sponsor yet. Of course, we would love it if they did. Just saying this, Sean. Okay, so that's out there, Sean. Now you can hear it.
Sean been on the show?
Sean would be a great guest.
Yeah, he would be good. Yeah.
Johnny M announced in the Katunkwit Press last week. Lots of restaurant news. Announced in the Katunkwit Press last week that his restaurant on Katunkwit, Maine will be back and open for business Thursday through Sunday for takeout orders only at this time. He thanked the faithful members of the community for their patronage. Welcome back, Johnny M.
There's been a lot of good food-related news lately.
Agreed. Yeah, and we need it, I think.
Yeah, because I was feeling like we were having a 1%er food desert problem.
Yeah, a lot of salmon over rice pilaf options. Right?
We had what's it called when a company takes over and they take over a part of the industry?
Like a monopoly.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also a game. Follow-up. There's a follow-up from last week because we had an advertisement last week, and this is the follow-up. The local business known as Bras, Books, and Banal, after advertising last week, have announced during the ensuing week that they're closing. It's not the money. We sold enough bras and books. It was the conversation that led us to this decision, said Maud McClintock, manager of BBB.
I did not know that.
Bras, Books, and Banal.
And that's going to be another restaurant.
Are you sure?
No.
Well, they're set up for a
Don't
restaurant.
say it on World TV or whatever we're on here. Don't say it.
The rumors are.
Okay. Also, another follow-up. The Human Party is holding a party at the Park Pavilion on election night. You need only bring your human qualities to participate. I love the Human Party. It's so funny that they have a party, first of all, and they're actually going to have a party. But, good time to have it, right? Mr. Nawoc, I noticed that when you arrived, Fenton, you had a little piece of paper with you, and you had some notes written on that paper. Is that true?
That is true.
We do not permit that.
No.
Just kidding. Is there anything on that paper that we didn't cover, or you would like to cover?
No.
Don't make a big crinkly noise with that paper now.
No. No, I'm
Would you like
happy
to tell
to
a
have a
story at this
conversation. No, I'm happy to just have conversations. I guess I will follow up on some of your promotions there. We have a big holiday coming tomorrow, right, in town. With
Are you going to be in charge of the foam pit?
I will be there. I'm in charge. So tomorrow's Halloween.
I have a Halloween story that I think I've told, though. Did I tell this story to you?
I'm not sure.
Did I tell it on the air? Because I don't want to repeat myself.
Well, tell me the beginning of the story and then I'll...
Okay, it was when I was living... I think I told you after the show last week. But anyway, I was living with my friend John and my friend Fred when we were going to college. And we were just, like, totally out of it. You know, like, we would just talk for hours, you know. It was fun. I mean, everybody had a couch that they got off the street, you know, when people were giving away couches on Labor Day. And we were living on Great Island. And it was night, and I hear a knock at the door, you know, and we didn't even know it was Halloween, right? So, like, we didn't have any candy. We never carried any candy around. But every week when we went to Stop and Shop, if you paid $20 or more for food, they give you a can of tuna packed in oil. You know, the kind that's not all hard together. It's like that stuff that's all cat food-like. So we had tons of this stuff because nobody in the house would eat it, right? So I came out with the cans and I threw them in the bags, you know. The kids walk up. And the parents are waiting over there and the one kid says, What did you get? I got tuna. I got tuna. And then the parents like, let me see, you got tuna. They gave you tuna? That was
college
me
kids.
being a college kid, yeah.
But tomorrow's the big, as Ashlyn said, there's the fire department does a big foam pit, and they let the kids see the fire station. But that's always a big hit with the kids.
This was how they stole Halloween from the rest of the island.
Yeah, all the kids now go into the middle of town rather than
nobody
around.
trick or treats on the north end anymore.
That's
They're
true.
like, go to town.
Even my street, which is not that far from the fire department, nobody trick or treats on our street.
You know, when you say nobody, it's not quite nobody now because we do have the neighbors' grandchildren that actually.
That's true.
They're the best.
And we have kids behind us too, so there's a
All
total
those
of
kids too.
there's a total of 4 kids in the neighborhood that trick or treat at our house.
I want to know, what is the foam made out of? Is it safe for contact with?
It is safe. Yes, it's not firefighting foam. There's a foam that firefighters use to put out fires. It is not.
So is it
foam.
like Dawn?
It's not Dawn, but it is safe for kids. But
you
closer
can't
to
name
Dawn. No, I can't name it. No, it's a trade secret.
Will you, next time we have you on, will you drink some of it to prove to us that it's safe?
It's like the guy that's that spray you can spray in your dog if it gets hit by a skunk.
Yeah.
And he puts it in. He's done too many. It's fine. You can actually eat it. He sprays it in his own mouth.
I haven't seen that.
Oh gosh, it's called foo something. Poof, poof.
I mean, there are kids who
we got a new
who are
sponsor.
eating
Poof.
or drinking that stuff because sometimes there's kids that are swimming in there.
Absolutely.
I know.
It's all
I don't
over
even
their
know.
body.
Do you act as lifeguard on that night?
Yeah, there is a firefighter too that just makes sure the kids are all okay because
Well,
the other
they can smash into one another.
Well, not only that, they disappear under the foam.
But they have to. The firefighters need some stuff to do that night, so they gotta take care of the wounds.
the injuries. The other thing that happens usually once a year is one of the kids, maybe my kids have done this, is think it's squishy like a mattress, so they jump onto the foam and to the
because it's just like air.
It's just air, and then they end
that's
up on
classic
concrete.
mistake.
Yeah, it's
A lot of times they do
come out
that.
bloody.
I've never been.
Then the
in
foam is pink after that.
We actually, when we were children, the firefighters would come to the school, not on Halloween, but they would come to the school, and they put the big, giant, enormous ladder up, which we talked about. And then someone would walk up to the top and would scare the shit out of all of us. And, like we were in second grade or something. And then they'd spray the actual firefighter foam, and then we'd all run through it. And,
That was before they
That's
realized
where I
it
think
probably
that-
wasn't good for you to be running through the foam.
So
so we
maybe,
get the cancer from.
yeah, that's what happened, James.
That's
We
it.
still do that. We still do that at the schools here for the kids.
But we don't spray the
Set
foam.
up, we don't spray foam, but we.
But
set
the
up
kids get to
trucks,
go up the
Go
ladder.
up the ladder, spray
Kids
the
do?
hoses.
Yeah.
And they also do the Jaws of Life, which is a lot of fun on a car.
Can't-
Where did those cars come from?
That's a secret. Nobody knows actually.
Because,
They're damaged
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
And
And then you go down to somewhere and shoot, like they make a fire out of something, and then they go and shoot it with a hose.
yeah, we
Practice.
practice with the real fire.
I think it's cool. It's so cool, like you're doing that. I appreciate that. I just would have problems with the heights and other things.
You don't have to go up the heights. You can still volunteer.
You still
Pull
have,
hoses around and
I'd be good with like the comedy.
yeah.
Do you have the comedy part?
We don't. There's no comedy role on a fire
No.
truck.
It's all kind of serious.
It's-
Gals. I mean, everybody there is pretty serious.
You could be back at the firehouse cooking.
Busting balls.
There is a lot of jocularity, but when something happens or in training,
Isn't that the
nobody's
least funny word of all? Jocularity. Jocularity. It's like,
That's
Is
the
that-
first time I've heard somebody use that in a long
I
time.
know,
Oh.
Father Mulcahy, that's who you remind
From-
me of, first of all. And
from
then
Ash.
from MASH,
Oh.
he said that.
Oh.
Jocularity. I go with, a real word. Okay. All right, so we do have to move to the next section, which is now. And we're going to talk about this story, which people seem to be enjoying, about this bear and the nightingale, which maybe you're not familiar with if you're not caught up with all of your podcasts, but Bear and the Nightingale story. So the Bear and the Nightingale, it's a classic satiric setup, with the bear being representing Putin and Putin's group.
Yeah.
The bear. And the nightingale, of course, is Zelensky, who represents Ukraine. And the male bear has been expressing a lot of powerful behavior, and it's regarding this patch of blueberries. And this bear, called Big Bear, has created a lot of problems within the bear community, and now he's trying to get the bears to follow him to take on the nightingales and other birds, as it turns out, and other animals, which you will see.
Including other bears.
And other bears, right? So here we go. Section 3, the bear and the nightingale. Big Bear nudged the bear, who was speaking from his perch with his huge rear end, comically, as the smaller bear fell from the rock. He stood tall on his 2 huge hind legs, standing 12 feet tall, his arms and paws crossed behind his back, his chest pushed out, his jaw and chin lifted seemingly uncomfortably. He paused for a long time, stoically, yet looking slowly from side to side at hundreds of bears as they moved closer to listen. Today, we must embark on a fateful mission to free bears enslaved by Nazi nightingales in the fields that were taken from us when our lands were split and shared years ago. We must embark on a mission to take back our lands and free our bear-speaking kindred in the region. It's not a war we want, but a show of force, a show of great strength. Strength made stronger in numbers. Not a war, but a power mission, an exercise. You have eaten from this great river for years. What if they were to claim this river? What if they were to call on the other animals, other birds, even to call on the bald eagle and all of their animals? Where would we be then? We must act now, while the blueberries are ripe, while the fields in the valley, soil so fertile you can bathe in it and rub a summer's worth of bear grease from your fur, and soil so rich. We must never lose it to a weak bunch of birds without the will to fight. I ask only that you walk with me over this ridge, together, in solidarity, to muster on the border for a while. We'll eat blueberries for a while, mix up our diet. After all, some of the fish must make it to the breeding grounds. He pauses again as the bears laugh nervously, nodding their heads in agreement. Furthermore, we have grown apart. We don't share as much as we once did. Look around you and think of a time that you fought with your fellow bear for a scrap of fish, or a territory beneath the fish falls. This must stop. We must work together. A female bear approached the front where Big Bear stood. Big Bear paused again and almost became flustered, as if he forgot his train of thought. She stood directly beneath Big Bear, who loomed above on the massive stone altar. It was my son that you drowned in the river to show everyone here how mighty you are, she said as tears fell from her eyes into the shallows of the river. Instantly, she was whisked away by two thug bears that looked just like Big Bear as she protested. She was lifted off the ground from beneath her haunches as she tore into her attackers with her rear paws, her nails daggering into the two henchmen, until she was no longer in sight, and all that was left was the sounds of her screaming. "Nazi collaborator bear," Big Bear accused, pointing in the distance where the screaming persisted, yet faded as he paused again. The rally-goers shook their heads in disgust. "Who among you is with her? Who are the Nazis among you? Who are the spies among you bears that sneak away to speak with the nightingales, to even get words to the eagles of our streams and fields? Who? Who?" Big Bear repeated, his head bobbing up and down, with his chin still high, his nose sniffing and snorting as if he could smell a spy with his huge nose. The bears looked at one another, all suspicious of this next move. Some bears told secrets to others, leaning close to speak in hushed tones. "If there are those of you that feel the need to tell me of those bears that are wanderers that you may suspect, come forth after the speech and let me know, because you don't want to go to the valley to enter those fields hand in hand with a bear that you cannot trust. This is total hogwash, all of it. Who among us are going to walk back to the stream and do what we do best? Fish." A thin but long-limbed bear said aloud from the front of the group. Long Limbs began walking toward the stream, passing beneath Big Bear as some others seemed to agree and began to follow. Big Bear leapt from his perch. Giant arms and razor-sharp talons stretched out as 1,200 pounds of bear landed on a Long Limb, crushing his ribcage and driving him to the ground dazed. Big Bear didn't quit. He slashed at his helpless bear until he didn't move anymore, then stood over him with his arms raised in a bloody rage. "Who of you wants me? Take the Nazis' piece of crap out of my sight," he yelled violently. Those bears that had begun to follow returned to their spots. Some pretended they were adjusting their positions. Big Bear stared at them for a long period of time. "I saw you. You made the right decision. But I know who you are," he said, while pointing his longest blood-dripping talon at the fearful bears. "We are on a mission to show the Nazis who is serious in this region. Now gather your last bit of fish, settle your cubs in the rear, keep them in line. I don't want to hear a peep from any of them. We'll be marching over the bridge, all of us. They take up posts in the field. Think of it as an extended camping trip. We must stay together. You have 1 minute to prepare." The massive throng of bears didn't know what to do. "Prepare for what?" the confused mother with two cubs asked as she found the rear of the pack and settled her little ones by stroking their backs and offering them rich milk from her swollen breasts. Big Bear leapt from the perch and ran back and forth from the rear of the pack to the back and across the vast spaces, racing from group to group, yelling, "Nazis! Nazis! Nazis! Free the Patch Bears! Nazis! 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 Free the Patch Bears!" The bears became agitated. Some came forward and ran with Big Bear, yelling the same strange chants. Old Bear mumbled in hushed tones with other old bears in semicircles. "These nightingales are our friends. They've always cleaned the river's edge of the smelly fish scraps. What do you make of this? They lived over there, never bothered me. I'm an old bear. Blueberries and Nazis?" "Don't say anything. Just go along with it. It'll be over before you know it, and that jerk can go back to his stupid stream all by himself, and before you know it, it'll be time to rest in our dens. We won't have to listen to him anymore. Do this senseless exercise." A weight-bearded, dark-colored brown bear responded. "I just want to forage and fatten. I don't care about any of this land and grab stuff," a young female bear without cubs said while passing through the semicircle of old bears. "Now, on second thought, I'd follow her anywhere, Whitebeard said, loud enough for her to hear. She turned and faced the old bear. Whitebeard snickered, and she stood up, pointing her paw at him. You keep your eyes where they belong, old man. You could be my grandfather. Whitebeard's head drooped, and his shoulders slacked. He looked like a sad fir tree in the forest. He lifted his head to speak. The old bears were still smiling at her when Whitebear spoke. I'm sorry, he said apologetically and sincerely in a humble gesture. We need some respect, too. Your old lumberheads always calling out names and chasing us around. It's awful. Well, at least you apologize. I accept. All this happened as minutes elapsed, and hundreds of black bears, brown bears, grizzly bears, and all began marching in unison, singing Free the Patch Bears. They marched together, yet not knowing why they had left their ancestral home to follow Big Bear. But they hadn't much choice, so they followed, and many of them sang Big Bear's chant, but it seemed preposterous to some as they pressed on. And that is section 3 of Big Bear and the Nightingale. It's heating up, right?
Mm.
Things are getting more and more interesting.
Yeah.
As we get closer to conflict. It's the ginning up.
It seems like it's building.
Yes. It's getting more and more real, right?
So they're pretty apathetic about this, but they're just frightened and hoping it'll end soon.
It only makes sense to one bear. And a few.
That was close.
What are they called? The sycophants.
Hmm.
Does it sound familiar?
It does.
I mean, it sounds familiar in a lot of respects, right? But anytime there's a authoritative type of personality in the group. You weren't exposed to this, but last week it was revealed in the story that Big Bear had taken out the Romanovs, which were the ruling class.
Oh.
And he was responsible for that. So there you have that. And we are at a point in the show now where we are probably going to say so long, farewell, and Vita saying goodbye, which is not at all fun to think about. But I did have some things to say here. Ashlyn, please, could you be more careful this week with the door?
I'm not going to touch the door.
I mean, I've been wearing a cast. I had to have 6 stitches from last week's incident with the door.
I think that whole thing was on you. You just blamed it on me.
So I missed last week. What happened?
Don't you regret closing your finger on my...
no.
Closing my
The
finger
door
on the door?
closed on James's finger.
Oh, no.
It was in the door jam. Like, in there.
Yeah.
Got pinched.
Yeah, I mean, who puts their finger in the door jamb?
I was stretching for golf.
Stretching your finger?
Stretching out. I've been sitting here, in the heat.
It is hot in this room.
Yeah, so as a school committee member, can you do something about that?
Put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
No, we did.
It's a high
I know
priority.
why it's so hot, because the boiler room is right underneath us.
Oh, is that true?
And there's no air conditioning.
Yeah, there's no...
I do have to suggest that despite having pinched my finger in the door, I shot a 37 on the front and 41 on the back.
Good for you.
With the brace on. All right, I'm going to say goodbye.
You're going to say goodbye? Are you going to say goodbye to Fenton?
Fenton, it has been a pleasure visiting with you. I hope you got everything out that you wanted to talk about. Or did you just want to sit there and be the foil?
I wanted to spend some time with both of you. This has been all I had hoped for.
Not more.
Not
all.
more. Just it's good. I have listened where unusually I did not expect to be this close to both of you.
Oh.
When listening to the podcast, you sound far away.
Oh,
but this has
well,
been.
yeah.
I'm glad.
This is very intimate.
I mean, this is sort of typical for a...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you... Yeah.
I guess you don't need.
You don't want
lot
a
of
big room because then it becomes harder to
Handle it.
prevent the sound from bouncing all over. You know.
But any improvements as a school committee member of the Kentucky School that you'd like to make, have at it.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Like heating and air conditioning would be a good start.
Specifically air
Just a
conditioning.
fan, yeah.
I'm sure that did you get any calls while we were in here for the rescue or any of that stuff?
Nothing came across. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm gonna do trumpets and waves.
I
And
love it. That makes me feel good.
Is it still gin and tonic season, or are you into the Manhattans?
No, we're into the dark drinks now.
Spiked hot cider.
Oh, we weren't.
Actually, it's going to be in the 70s tomorrow. So
Yeah, it is.
Back
It's
to
gonna
gin
be
and tonic
warm,
weather.
warm Halloween.
All right. Well, there we go. Enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Thank you.